Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you had the opportunity to watch the first lesson on normal distribution, and now I'm going to apply an example. So let's take a look at this example and then we'll discuss some of the features. The mean life of a light bulb is 1500 hours. The standard deviation is 200 hours. And I apologize, I didn't write that this was a normal distribution, but it will always say it's a normal distribution. Otherwise, we wouldn't be using what this bell-shaped curve here is. We wouldn't be using this if it didn't say it was a normal distribution. So what I do here is I make this normal distribution bell-shaped curve, and I draw a line right down the middle. And then I'm going to have three standard deviations. I'm going to have one standard deviation. This is within one standard deviation. That's going to be worth 68%. Then I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to put 13.5 here. If you add up the 13.5 and the 34 and the 34 and the 13.5, you would get 95%. That's two standard deviations away from the mean, or within the mean. And the final one that I'm going to do is I'm going to say 2 and 2. If you add up 2, 13.5, 34, 34, 13.5, and 2, you would get 99%. There's a little bit left over because it has to add up to 100%. So if that's all 99%, then we have 1% left over. So I put 0.5% on each side. So this is what a normal distribution looks like, and these are the percentages that go along with it. So your first step to do these problems is you're going to draw a line down the middle, and you're going to put the mean. So I'm going to put 1500 right here. Then you're going to take the standard deviation, and you're going to add it 3 times. So that's going to be 200 plus 1500 gives you 1700. 1700 plus 200 is 1900. And then 2100 hours. We're going to take away 200 hours 3 times. So that's going to be 1300, 1100, 900. Now there's a little bit more on both sides, but right now that's not important. So let's see what this is about. 68%, letter A. 68% of all light bulbs will have a life between, well, we know that 68% is a special number. It means one standard deviation. So it's going to be one standard deviation this way and this way. So the answer would then be 1300 to 1700. So we expect 68% of light bulbs to last between 1300 hours and 1700 hours. We tell everyone that it lasts about 1500 hours on average, but there's going to be some standard deviation, in other words, some fluctuation, and so 1500 is not accurate. So the next one is part B. Part B says 95% of all light bulbs will have a mean life between, well, we know 95% means 2 standard deviations. That's this here. So that means I have to go 1, 2 in both directions. So with that being said, I know that 2 standard deviations would be 1100 to 1900 hours. In other words, we can almost guarantee if you got a light bulb of this brand that it would last between 1100 to 1900 hours. In other words, 95% of them will last between this long. Letter C. What percent of the light bulbs will have a life that exceeds 1900 hours? So, here's 1900. What percent will exceed more than? Well, that's great, because that's only 2.5. And letter D. Letter D is our final one. If a company purchased 2,000 light bulbs, how many light bulbs would you expect to last between 1,300 and 1,700 hours? So with this case, I know what percent lasts between 1,300 and 1,700 hours. The percentage that lasts between 1,300 hours and 1,700 hours is 68%. So all I have to do is take my calculator and say 2,000 light bulbs, and I expect 68% of them, 68% of the 2,000 to last. Therefore, I expect 1,360 of them to last between 1,300 and 1,700 hours. So take your time, pause the video, go back, do whatever you have to do to make sure you understand it. If you guys get this normal curve down, then you're not going to have problems doing any of these problems. This is standard. These numbers never change. So let's take a look at one more example. The shelf life of a particular product is normally distributed with a mean of 44 days and a standard deviation of 8 days. Great. It says it's normally distributed, so I know I need this bell-shaped curve. I'm going to put the mean, which is 44 days, and the standard deviation, I'm going to add it 3 times. Always 3 times? Yup, always. So 44 plus 8 is 52. 52 plus 8 is 60. 60 plus 8 is 68. And now I'm just going to go backwards in a symmetry way because it's symmetrical. And I'm going to subtract 8 3 times. So let me just get another color. 44 is your 0 standard deviations away. This is your 1. This is your 2. That's your 3 standard deviations away. I want to go backwards. These are also called z-scores. So I'm going to take away 8. So 44 minus 8 will be 36. 36 minus 8 is 28. And 28 minus 8 is 20. Do you guys remember what these numbers are? Let's try to remember it. This is 34%. That's 34%. This is 13.5%. This is 13.5%. That's 2. That's 2. And that makes 99%. And now we have just 0.5 left over on both ends. These are all percentages. About what percent of the products, here's question A. About what percent of the products will last between 44 days and 52 days? Oh, that's easy. That's this guy. So I'm going to actually write this. The probability that it's between 44 and 52 is 0.34. So that's your notation, actually. About what percent of the products last less than 36 days? The probability that any product lasts less than 36 days, well, all I have to do is add less than 36. If you add these 3 up, take your time, pause the video, you'll get 16%. I'm just going to write 0.16. You should write it in percent, obviously. Letter C. About what percent of the product lasts more than 60 days? Here's 60. Okay, let's get the highlighter. More than 60. Do you guys think you can write this in terms of notation? X is bigger than 60. So that's going to be 2.5% or 0.025. And letter D. About what percent of the products will last between 28 and 60 days? So I got to get another highlighter. Here's 28. Here's 60. You can add them all up, all these up, and that's your answer. Or you can say, oh, that's 2 standard deviations above the mean. This is 2 standard deviations below the mean. And I know that's going to be 95%. So in between is going to be 95%. And that's how you do it. So I'm going to be making a lot of videos with examples, so you guys come back for those.